everyone, Joe Brady here. Thank you for joining me today. We just got back from the Florida Photo and Birding Fest, and I wanted to share with you an image demonstration of an image we captured during the festival. One evening we had a great time photographing some riders and horses on the beach as the sun was getting down low, and towards the end of it the sun got behind some clouds and it got kind of dark. But we still had this beautiful pose of this young lady with this gorgeous horse. So that's what I want to take you through. And also, we're going to take a first look at Lightroom's new AI Denoise and see how great a job it does. So stay tuned. We're going to get there in a second or in a minute. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's do the basics of our edit first. So what are the problems? We look at the histogram. We can see we have a lot of headroom here. There's no whites, there's no blacks. But since the subject is the key here, let's bring up the shadows all the way, and that looks a lot better. So we can now just come right down. We'll add some texture, we'll add some clarity. I do want to add dehaze, but not to the subject, but to the background. So we'll have to select that separately. I'm going to add some vibrance and some saturation, and things are looking a heck of a lot better already. Now we've got some color temperature issues as well, but we're going to get to that. Let's just do it step by step. So the first thing I want to deal with is I want to deal with the background and kind of get that out of the way. The colors are slightly off. So how do we select the background in something like this? Well, the easiest way is to come up to the masking panel right here, click on that, and we could try background. Let's see if the software sees what the background is. And it does, but it also picked up some of the horse. Let's try it the other way around. Let's click on New Mask and tell it to select the subject, and it did a little better job. It missed the very back of the horse right here, so we'll click on the Add button. We'll get a brush, make sure Auto Mask is turned on, and we'll just come up to the back of the horse and make sure those pieces are getting selected. Now, we don't want these guys right now, but we do want the background. So in the masking panel, you can see our mask 2 is the subject. Come over to the 3 dots, click on there, and tell it to invert. And now we have everything but the young lady and her steed there. So let's scroll down and take a look and see the kinds of things we want to do. Exposure, well, contrast. Let's go ahead and add some contrast. I think what this really needs is some clarity and dehaze. So let's add clarity. And we'll add a bunch of dehaze, and that's looking better already, but it's a little too unnaturally blue for me. So what else? Let's come on up to the color, and I think it needs to be warmed up a bit. So let's go to the temperature and bring it up, because it was the setting sun, even though it was kind of behind clouds. So it was going to be a little bit warmer, and I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I like it. Now, there's a problem with the sky. Do you notice that if we look at the horizon across here, that it's tilted? So we got to deal with that separately. So I'm just going to hit Enter twice on my keyboard and go to the Crop tool right here. And we have this Angle tool in the crop. Rather than just clicking the crop and trying to rotate it to try to do by eyeball, let's click on the Angle tool, and I'll just click on one end of the horizon and then drag across and move it up so that I know that the horizon should be straight there, and there we end up with a perfectly straight horizon. So now let's go back and take a look at our subject and see what we want to do here. I think we want to select the subject again, so let's go up to the mask, and we'll create our new mask and select the subject again, and I'm going to add to it one more time with the brush to make sure I get all of the horse. There we go. You see we're getting everything now. So what is the problem here? And if you want to hide the selection mask, which is green on my computer, you can hit the O key, which will turn off the overlay, and you can see what's going on. And I think we need a little bit more warmth on them. And by having the subject, which is close by, get warmer, it brings it closer to you. It adds some dimension to the scene. So let's scroll down to our color sliders again. I'm going to add a lot of warmth to that, and that's looking a heck of a lot better. So I'm going to hit Enter on that, and I think color-wise it's pretty good. Let's go ahead and zoom in and see. Yeah, that's looking nice. In fact, I'm going to hide the left panel so we have some more screen real estate. Yep, that's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and sharpen this image as well. So let's go down to Detail, and I'm going to add some sharpening. And you can see I have her face in here, and yeah, it's getting nice and crisp there. But I don't want to I don't want to sharpen everything. If we sharpen this background here, it's just going to get noisy. So let's move the masking slider, but you can't really see what's going on. So first, remember, hold down the Option or Alt key, whichever one you got, click, and it turns everything white. That means everything's getting sharpened. Start dragging off to the right till the sky disappears and we just get the edges that we want to be sharpened, and that creates a nice sharpening without adding noise. Now, speaking of noise, if you look in really close, let's bring our side panel in again, and in fact, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go up to 200% so we can see real close. And you can see now that because she was in shadow and we brought that up, we've got some noise. And here is the cool new feature in Lightroom. Under the sharpening panel, there's the noise reduction. This is brand new. And you just click on where it says Denoise. Now in this panel, you'll see there's a couple of choices. We have Denoise, Raw Details, and Super Resolution, which will allow you to up-res the file. But you can only do one or the other while you're here. So if I wanted to do Super Resolution, I would have to click off Raw Noise, or no Denoise rather, and choose Super Resolution, and it shows you how far it would go in. We're not doing that though. We're here for Denoise. And it will pick its default amount, and you can click and hold to hide it. And look at the amazing job it does on denoising the skin. That is really great. Now, it's also showing it to us at 200%, but that still looks spectacular. So let's go ahead. It says it's going to take 55 seconds. So let's go ahead and click, and I won't make you wait. We'll come back when it's done. All right, there's our denoise done, and look at how gorgeous that is. And let's go ahead and this, we're looking at this at 200%. Let's go ahead back to our 100%, and you can see that that is just perfectly clean. Now I see something going on right here. I don't know if that was on her. I mean, the girls were galloping around on the sand and getting a little dirty. So I'm going to go up to the healing brush here, and let's try just the regular heal. So I'm going to click here and drag across it. Let's see if that works. And that's a complete fail. We don't want to use that. So I'm going to try the Content Aware fill, which is the Content Aware Oasis is right next to her. And there, that was the answer. That does a great job there. So now we can hit the Z key and zoom out. Now, what can we do to maybe even make this image just a little bit better? I'm going to do a custom crop here. I think this is deserving of it. So let's go to the crop tool. And we know it's straight already. We've already done that. How can I make it even have more impact? And I think by actually making the subjects, the girl and the horse, bigger. So I'm going to take a little bit off the bottom, a little bit off the top. And over here, even though we see the surf, they're super centered, and this is a little bit of a distraction. So I'm going to bring this in a little bit from the right to minimize it so that the girl and the horse are bigger than this big open area of surf, and hit enter on there. And then I'm going to come down to Effects and go to the Highlight Priority Vignette, and I'm going to bring it down about my favorite -12. And even if it doesn't look like I really just did anything, we can click on this eyeball here, which will temporarily hide the vignette. And there's before and after the vignette. And you can see how nice it makes in the middle of the image. Now, I really want the viewer to go to the middle of the image. So I'm going to do one more thing, and this is just my favorite thing to do. I'm going to create a new mask. And what I want is a radial gradient right there. The keyboard shortcut is Shift-M. And I'm just going to click and drag. And I'm after the subject, so I'm going to put it on top of them, and I'm going to rotate it to match the angle. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to bring up the exposure a little bit on them to further separate them out from the background. Let's see, how far can I go? I think about right there. And I'm going to make it a little more yellow, just to add a little bit more warmth to both the horse and the young lady. And I think that is beautiful. Let's hit return twice to get rid of all of those. Now I'm going to create a virtual copy, which is Command or Control apostrophe. And I'm going to reset one. I'm going to reset this copy just to show you that that's what we started with. Let's take a look at this full screen. There's the raw file that we started with. Now, what made it worth pursuing is that the composition is really nice. The angle, the interaction between her and the horse, the way she's looking, the way the horse is looking, everything works. So it was worth doing the edit. But just that quickly, going through everything we just did with those sliders, we took it to there. What an amazing difference. And that's one of the gorgeous shots from our recent trip to St. Augustine on the beach with our horses and riders. The new AI Denoise in Lightroom is pretty impressive, as you just saw, so it is definitely something worth doing whenever you have some images that have a little bit of noise in them. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I wish you a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.